We just started our relationship and she discussed marriage, screamed at me when I said no, and blamed me for her drinking. Then she promised to change but got worse even faster, so I blocked her. I met a pretty rave girl at a Darren Styles show and fell head over heels with her. 2 weeks later after texting, we had our first date and the vibes and connection were solidified. From that day on, we were together every hour outside work for almost 3 weeks. We lived 20 minutes apart, so we took turns staying over at each other's places, and I would drive her to work. She didn't have a car each morning, so she didn't have to take the trolley. I've been single for the past 2 years, and my last relationships lasted 5 and 8 years respectively. I was cheated on both times, so it's tough for me to trust someone again and be vulnerable. However, with her, I believed she was my ride or die because of our deep conversations about our values and goals in life. We even came up with cute nicknames for each other. I was so happy when we agreed to make our relationship official together. We both shared our darkest secrets and trauma with each other. I told her things that no one else knew. Was fully committed. I wanted her more than anything. My love language is gift-giving and acts of service, so I would cook for us, grocery shop, pay for food/dinner, drinks, Uber us to events, and even installed a bidet at her apartment. She met my friends and said they were amazing compared to her past friend groups. She was shocked to see how our friends would spend time together without having to get messed up on substances as the primary reason to hang out together. One night we were drinking and watching TV and the conversation shifted to our commitment and how dedicated I was to her. So she said, "We should get married now." It wasn't jokingly or cutesy, it was serious. I was taken aback because I care about this person, but we only just met, and it's too early even to consider that. I did my best to say, "No, I'm not ready yet, and I'm not going to say yes to something that I don't feel comfortable saying." So because I was trying to avoid the situation, it was perceived as, "I don't want to." But she repeatedly said, "We should get married. Why won't you marry me?" This was when I was berated and called condescending names because I didn't say what she wanted to hear. We woke up the following day, and after reminiscing about how much fun we had last night, I told her she called me some pretty hurtful things. She laughed and said, "Sorry, I didn't mean to. I have thick skin," so I brushed it off and gave her the benefit of the doubt. But a week later, it happened again, the same situation. We were drinking and having a great night, but she started saying we should get married again, and I reacted the same way. I told her, "No, I'm not ready yet." She fell asleep and I silently left in the early morning. Once I got home, I texted her saying I can't be with someone that berates me. I know my worth and won't let myself be abused again. Her reply was, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. I understand where you're coming from. I know I can get very ugly sometimes and it's my flaw, but I know I didn't mean anything towards you." We had plans that morning to meet my friends and have a picnic at the park, but instead I spent hours crying in bed. Eventually, I got up and met my friends at the park where I told them everything. 6 hours after her last text, she texted me a sad frowny face emoji. I told her I'd call her later. That night, we had an hour and 20-minute long phone call. During it, I probably talked for a combined 15 minutes. The main takeaway from the conversation was that she was sorry, but it was my fault since I bought the cider, and I should have known better because she's 5'6", 110 bulb, and I'm 6'2", 175 bulb, and that it was too high of alcohol content. I was also emasculated because of my actions since I was vocal about my feelings and emotions. I tried to express the need for boundaries since we are both in therapy, and she replied that boundaries are for animals and cattle. The conversation went from bad to worse. I couldn't believe my ears. There was no accountability for her actions or any remorse. The thing she said that I can't get out of my head is how she used my past trauma, the things I told her in confidence, to justify how my actions are irrational, and that because I was hurt in the past, I shouldn't be so weak, and it's not like she was physically abusing me like my exes. It's been 5 days, and I haven't received a text or call from her. I've been a complete wreck. I can't eat, sleep, or do anything without thinking about her. I would have given her the world. We talked about traveling together and going to festivals. I told her about all the cute dates I had planned. I would have done anything for her because she is precisely who I envision myself being with, but it feels like I'm just another doormat to her. I've been struggling to process everything that's happened. I cared deeply about her and really believed in what we were building. Did I overreact by something she said while she was drunk? Should I text her or just walk away? Update. TLDR. I tried to rekindle a relationship with my girlfriend despite warnings from others. At first, things seemed optimistic, but issues quickly surfaced, including excessive drinking, her getting assaulted at a bar, and other erratic behavior. The relationship became increasingly volatile, with emotional outbursts, accusations, and manic mood swings. The breaking point came when she said she couldn't handle my frequent travel. She initiated a breakup but later lashed out when I didn't attempt to reconcile. This escalated into her harassing me with excessive calls, hurtful texts, threats, and personal attacks. I should have listened to everyone, but I didn't. I handwrote her a letter telling her how much I cared about us and wanted to give us another chance. She texted me later that day, saying she felt the same way and was sorry for everything. We meet up for dinner. I brought her flowers and we talked for a long time about what happened. She was apologetic, took accountability, and reassured me it wouldn't happen again. I stayed the night and we made up for lost time. The next day, I took her to work in the morning. We made plans to have dinner later that night, so I went to the store and picked up steak potatoes and an expensive bottle of bourbon. I picked her up from work and we returned to my house where I cooked everything. We put on a movie, finish the bottle, and stay up late into the morning. It was such a nice night. The next night, we had tickets to see Gammer. I was so excited. We dress up and go to the club. I picked up some beer so we could pre-game. We get to the club around 11:30 p.m., and she buys some shots. We're dancing, goofing around, having fun. She buys a few more shots. We ended up leaving around 1:45 a.m. She then wants to go to a bar, but everything is about to close. I follow her across the street to a bar where she orders 2 more shots. They tell us it's last call and we'll need to be quick. I could tell something was off, so I told her I would wait for her outside. 3 minutes later, I see the front door swing open and security pushes her out of the bar. She is yelling, causing a scene, and then gets in someone's face. The guy punches her in the head. At that point, I rush over and try to de-escalate the situation. We flag down a cop and explain what happened and who assaulted her. The cop took down the information, but then another call came in and he left in a hurry. We took an Uber back to her place and her friends came over. We told them what had happened. I was in shock. I couldn't believe she got punched in the face. None of that had to happen. We didn't have to go to the bar. We didn't have to take more shots. She didn't have to mouth off to security when they were asking everyone to leave. She didn't have to get in some random guy's face. This was the first time I think I really saw her true self. A self that is so angry and mean. I should have ended things there, but I didn't. On Monday night, we meet up with my 2 friends at a local brewery to play some pool. We have a few drinks and play a few games. Then we go to a pizza spot for some slices and beer. We were all talking and making jokes, but she would laugh so loud it was deafening. I could see everyone looking at us like we were the loud, obnoxious table. I felt so uncomfortable. We then leave and head back to my house. She tries to offer my friends a vape, but they politely decline. She keeps asking and putting it up to their mouths, asking them to take a hit. At that point, I said, "Hey, can you please not do that?" They already said no. She then got super quiet. My friends felt the vibe in the room change, so they left. I didn't know at the time, but this triggered her, that I said she should stop pressuring my friends to smoke. We watch a movie and try to enjoy the rest of the night. However, during the movie, she would go from laughing to crying, yelling at me, and kissing me. I couldn't understand what was going on and why she was acting like this. We didn't even drink this much. She wasn't blacked out. I think whatever medication she's on shouldn't be mixed with alcohol because she was so manic, and then everything started to make sense. The following day, it seemed like everything was okay, but little did I know it wasn't. I was working from home and she was keeping me company on the couch when out of nowhere she got up and said, "I want to go home. I can't be here." I ask what's wrong and she says I triggered her when I stepped up to her and said she should stop offering my friends to smoke. She said she felt embarrassed. She then told me that I was only in this relationship because of the intimacy and that I didn't care about her. I told her this was wrong and told her everything I do for her, cook, clean, drive, pay, give, provide, and that seemed to make her realize how much I care about her. That night, I had dinner plans with my parents, so I dropped her off at her place and went to eat. Afterward, I texted her asking if she wanted to hang out. It was late, but I just wanted to see her, so I drove over and we watched a little TV where we both dozed off on the couch. It is now Wednesday, and we did have plans to get wings and wine after work, but my buddies ended up canceling. So when I texted her about it, she was upset. I didn't let her know sooner, otherwise she would have made plans with her friends. I apologized and told her I had just found out myself. I told her as soon as I knew. She said something is off. I'm not dumb. I know how you can be when something is not going your way. I don't like it when people assume things, so I told her I would stay home and have a chill night in. She texted, "Good night, I love you" at 11 p.m. I replied the same. I text her in the morning thinking about her and wishing her a nice day. I didn't text her throughout the day because I was legitimately busy, so she called me at 7 p.m. We talked for a bit, and she wondered why I didn't text her all day. I explained everything that was going on. We get off the phone and keep texting. She asked me when my next trip was, and I told her it was actually on Monday. I fly out to Seattle for 2 days. She knows I travel. On our first date, I told her how in 2024 I went to 6 countries and more than 11 festivals. She then says that she doesn't do long-distance relationships and that her ex would travel for work all the time, so she left him because he was never around. I tell her how committed I am and that I'm not like her ex. She said she was looking for something different and thought she could handle my traveling, but it turns out she couldn't. I told her it sounded like I was not the right person for her. She said she thinks so too, and that she knows what she wants and deserves. I told her she deserved the world and was sorry I couldn't give it to her. She then calls me out for stonewalling and being non-communicative and avoidant. Then she proceeds to say she sees me as toxic and wants to end this before it gets worse. I told her I respected her decision and that all I wanted to do was make her happy. She calls me a wonderful person but can't justify staying with me because she wants to settle down with someone. I replied with, "I understand." And that was the last thing I texted. I figured it was over. She broke up with me and nothing else was left to say or do. I was so wrong because things went from bad to a full-on crap storm. She texted me yesterday at noon saying how she thinks it's so rude of me to be dismissive that I didn't try to reconcile and that I gave up so easily. If I had cared about her, I would have tried to communicate better. I don't say anything back. She then starts blowing up my phone. I have at least 18 missed calls. She's texting me the most hurtful things, accused me of cheating. She called me toxic, threatening me and saying she'll get me for messing with her emotions, brought up my past trauma. She called me an emotional abuser, emasculated me again, said I should get a gender change since I'm such a woman, and sent me a link to a clinic that does operations. Then she sends me screenshots of guys that she's talking to and how they want to take her out for Valentine's Day. Then made fun of my little guy and said I didn't satisfy her. That's when I blocked her. Story 2. She cheated, I left, but she's not letting go. Pretty much what the title says, but obviously I should provide background to the situation. Okay, I've been with my ex-girlfriend Vanessa for the past 5 years. We met at a convention for one of our hobbies, started just talking about the hobby itself with no other goal in mind. We started dating when she confessed that she liked me as more than a friend, and it was mutual. I just kept quiet because I didn't really want to ruin the friendship, and I wasn't really expecting her to be interested in me. Dated for about 2 years steadily before we moved in together. Our families meshed well together, our friends mingled, and we all became one big mixed social circle. That was a surprise because we both come from very different financial backgrounds. Me being raised in poor, middle-class kind of finances, Vanessa and her friends and family being really, really rich. Everything was great for the past 3 years, except when she cheated. Vanessa cheated on me with some random guy. I don't even honestly know why, nor do I really care to find out. I found out a month ago because I took her phone to call up a friend since mine was inoperable at the time. First thing I saw when I unlocked her phone was a message popping up about how some guy loved that butt bouncing on him the day before. I'll spare you the emotional turmoil I briefly went through. And I'll admit, I just put the phone down, told her I was leaving without telling why, and I could see she was confused about me just going out like that. I just didn't want to do something I'd regret because I did have anger issues in the past, but have mostly worked past those. She probably found out I saw that message, but since my phone was still in the apartment, there was no one way to get in touch with me. I literally just walked around the city for hours until I was so tired that I felt like falling asleep on my feet. Went over to a friend's place, stayed with them over the night, and the day after I got over to our apartment and talked it out with Vanessa. I told her I wasn't going to be in a relationship with a cheater, and that was that. I didn't ask for details how it happened. Who exactly the other guy was, I just wanted to go away from it all. She wasn't looking to oblige me, crying hysterically, blaming herself, hitting herself in the head because she was, and I quote, a stupid cheating C-word, begging me not to go, that she would do anything to try and fix this. The whole thing just made me even more uncomfortable to be around her, and there was a scene in front of our apartment when our neighbors came out to see what the noise was about. I did manage to get away, but it was unnecessarily complicated with drama. She made her choice to screw someone else. I made mine to break up because I don't want to be with a cheater. I managed to take away most of my things from the apartment when she wasn't there and hoped that would be that. But if it was, I wouldn't be here now. I mentioned before Vanessa and her family are rich. She's now using her, and I presume her family's money in not giving me a single day of some kind of reminder of her. Either I'm getting gifts sent my way at my workplace, or I'm getting letters in the mail and packages. Or she just hangs out with one friend of hers somewhere where she knows I am. I have no idea how she knows, and this is making me feel paranoid because I keep thinking she might have someone following me, trying to get me to talk with her. I have tried talking with local police on the matter, but have been told in not so many words that her family would make sure nothing would be done about it. Props to the cop for being honest about it, but they could do their job instead. I want to heal. I want to move on. But she's not letting me, and I don't have enough money to just move away somewhere else. She's already blocked or ignored on every possible media I have, but strangely enough, she's not trying to get to me through them anyway. Friends, on the other hand, are. Every friend she's got, and she has plenty, has asked me to just meet up with her, hear her out, or something else like that. But I'm so tired of that. I'm tired of this kind of crap. I just want it over with. I don't want to hear her speak. I don't want to see her. It won't do me any good. So please, can anyone here help me? How do I move on from someone who won't let me and who has absolutely both the time and money to keep doing it indefinitely? Do I give her that one meeting she wants from me? Would that even help? I'm not from the USA or some other first world country, so I pretty much have no legal recourse. TLDR, ex-girlfriend cheated on me, and I broke up with her, but she's not letting go and has the time and money to waste on trying to get me to talk to her about us, even though there is no us anymore. How to move on from someone who's not letting you do so. Update. There were tons of advice in the thread, and a lot of support for the crappy situation I was in, and I want to thank you all for trying your best to help me. In the end, I set up a meeting with my ex's mother, whom I'd mentioned in one of my posts when I was replying to people about this whole thing. It was roughly a week after I'd made my previous post. She knew why we were broken up and completely backed up my decision to break up with her daughter, seeing how much it hurt me. It meant a lot to me, and I guess I never really appreciated her mom being so friendly with me while we were together. I explained to her what had been going on since the breakup. She only knew that the ex was trying to get back together with me, but she didn't know about her showing up at any place. I went out her friends badgering me, or the letters and gifts being sent my way constantly. I came close to tearing up because of how much support she showed me at the time. At one point, she even hugged me and kissed the top of my kid like I was a little kid again. I felt both embarrassed and grateful. I just wanted space and time to heal from this crap, and I think she understood as much. All in all, after we got that out in the open, she promised me she would get her daughter back into line to leave me alone and stop harassing me. We talked a bit some more after that, but went our own ways soon after. The ex's harassment continued for a day or two, and then it completely stopped. No messages, no calls, no sudden appearances where I was hanging out or anything. 3 weeks out, and nothing from her so far. It's been bliss. It's like this huge weight just rolled straight off me. It's easier to breathe, and I'm not even looking at the door of some place I'm hanging out at to see if it's the ex or one of her friends. I didn't even notice that myself. My friends were the ones who brought it up to me. So yeah, this is 1,000 times better than what it was like before. I did talk with my ex's mom one more time over the phone, and I thanked her for whatever she did with her daughter, and she was saying it was the least she could do. Near the end of the conversation, she said it would probably be for the best if we didn't speak anymore. It would let me fully move on from this, but that she was sorry it had come to this and that her and her husband, wouldn't see me coming over for Christmas. We said our goodbyes, and that was that. So that's it. The harassment stopped, I'm feeling great, and life's really looking better nowadays. One more time, thank you all guys and gals for trying to help me out from the crap pile I found myself in. TLDR. Met up with ex's mom, told her about what was going on. She got the ex to stop, and haven't heard anything from the ex since 3 weeks ago, and life is good.